I'm here today with Jeff Kinney, author of Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Roderick Rules, two best-selling books on the radar of every 10, 12, 13-year-old kid in America. We're thrilled to have you here at Live at 01, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a real thrill.
These books, for anyone who hasn't seen them, are hilarious. They're riotously funny if you're 10 or if you're 35. And I'm curious, to your perspective, which do you as a creator think is the funniest?
I think that I like both about evenly. I like the first three books. Well, the third one isn't out yet, but I'm writing the first draft of that now. But I like them evenly. They're all drawn from the same source material, which was my online version that I put up in 2004. So I think I spread things out pretty well in terms of humor.
At your events, do your fans agree? Do they both love books equally?
Yeah, they seem to. I really thought that people would strongly like the second one better than the first, or vice versa. But they seem to be they seem to be in favor of both, so that's a good thing.
And like I said, the books are hilarious. They're funny and they appeal to kids. They really appeal to boys. They seem to have a great amount of appeal to that kind of 5th to maybe 8th grade. I'm not sure exactly the range you think. I'm really curious about your take on what makes them so appealing to an age range, a demographic that's not really a natural reader.
I think part of it is the format and part of it's the humor, hopefully. The format is, kids have an advanced visual literacy these days. They bring an expectation to, the materials they consume. I think that comes from the internet generation. But, on every page you've got a picture. And I think a lot of boys see a page of all text and their eyes just glaze over. So here you're given little breaks, between the blocks of text, and it kind of leads you along through the story. So I think that's why.
Do you think the gender divide is equal? Do girls appreciate it in the same way that boys do? And why is it that boys seem to really respond?
That's hard to say, because I think girls are more avid readers than boys, but when I go places it seems that it's 50-50 boys and girls.
Good, so the events you're getting
Right.
Good mixed results.
Right, and at first when I got emails from kids, I get emails from parents who had said, my reluctant reader, this is the first they've ever read, this is the first book they've ever read all the way through. And I got enough of these emails and I kept saying, wow, reluctant reader. I'd never heard that phrase before. And now I come to understand that that's just code word for boys anyway. So I think it's working well with those boys, and I'm thrilled by that.
So you've written 2 bestsellers, and you've also developed video games and interactive experiences and online experiences for kids professionally.
Right.
A lot of people would say these activities, kind of video games and computer time and reading, are really at opposite ends of the quality spectrum as a parent. We want our kids to read, we don't want them to spend time playing video games.
Right.
What's your take on that? Do you agree? How do you see that relationship evolving, especially as our forms of media start to blend?
I think you stole my word. It is all starting to blend together, I think, and it's going to be harder and harder to distinguish what's publishing and what's kind of an interactive experience. And that's why I like keeping my day job, which is publishing in the online world. Now we're actually Diary of a Wimpy Kid started off online, and so we're kind of publishing to kids' characters. They have avatars online, and now we're publishing to those, to those characters, which is kind of a cool thing.
The avatar thing is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
As we see online experiences for kids go from Club Penguin to upcoming big Disney things that they've also invested in, that experience is changing. Do you see there's ever a virtual Diary of a Wimpy Kid kind of world where kids can go into the stick figure-like universe and participate?
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do something like a Wimpy world where you can interact with Greg Heffley and his cohorts, and maybe there would be a new storyline, that's created just for the web. I'd really like to do that.
Yeah, you have a great print vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a proven track record on Funbrain. Do you see Wimpy Kid broadening? So will you be thinking about expanding publishing and readership online in terms of content that's not available in print? Animation, video, any other kinds of things you're thinking?
I have not thought much about that, but I'd like to keep my options open, because I think that, the things that exist today didn't exist 10 years ago. When I was in junior high school, webmaster and, internet developer, those things did not exist at all. So I would imagine that, 10 years from now, there will be there will be some sort of medium that doesn't exist today. So I'd like to bring Greg Heffley and his family into that medium, whatever it might be.
Yeah, because our experience when we look at readers, as whether we're parents or whether as we work in bookstores, is that kids want more of everything they can get their hands on. So it doesn't matter if it's necessarily a backpack or if it's a book or if it's a TV show. They're looking to really be engaged in these people's universes. So it's so obvious to anybody who's watched a kid sit down and cackle over these books.
Right.
They want this in any way, shape, or form they can get it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to leverage a brand, is to actually bring kids into that world, and just the spending of time in that world really strengthens your brand. And I'm very much interested in doing that, especially if you can keep it at a high quality and it's not just time exposure.
Yeah.
Then I think that's immersive environments is that's the way of the future, clearly.
Right. Yeah, and I imagine parents and librarians and booksellers and readers all agree when their kids pick up these books and they may have been reluctant readers and they just chew through them. They must be thrilled in the conversations you have in these events, wherever you go, to say, hey, thank you for what you're doing for my kid.
Right, and that's, I really meant for this book to be a lark. It's supposed to just be a good laugh. But yes, I do hear from parents who say, this is the first book my kids read, and thank you for turning the light on for my child, which, if this book can be a positive force, I feel really good about that. So if it can become a gateway to more serious reading or more legitimate reading, if you will, then I'm very happy with that.